Good morning.
Good morning.
The lake's full, the crappie are biting, and the ice is off. It doesn't get better than that. Hey, just an editorial comment before I give you my report. We're all Ohioans, and as other lakes have gotten sick, we've reached out to them and said, you know, in so many words, any way we can help you with science or toe stubbers so you don't make the same mistake, don't hesitate to talk to us. So keep Buckeye Lake in your thoughts, please. We all don't have to remember too hard to remember what we went through in our bloom year. And that was, comparatively speaking, just a short window of time. And they've really got their struggles. You know, their lake's being drawn down, and there's a question whether even smaller boats can use it, and it's going to be a prolonged situation as I understand it. So my counterpart down there is a guy by the name of Merv Bartholow, great individual. And that's a heartbreaker down there. So we're all in this together, so keep them in your thoughts, please. Well, as we've said all winter long, we're looking forward. It's going to be a challenging year, but it's such an exciting year. As I've shared with you in past presentations, you know we live and die off grant money. And mentally we said to ourselves, we're always a year and a half away from being funded. And so we thought it's probably going to be a 7 to 10 year process as we install treatment trains. And this year we're going to have 3 of them going at once, as I've told you, and I don't want to be redundant, but let me tell you where we're at. On the Coldwater Creek installation, you know from the past presentation and the pictures I put up, it requires a berm. Because of Prairie Creek, we've established such a reputation with the Army Corps of Engineers, and that would have to be a permitted effort. Our consultant Joe Pfeiffer from KCI has reached out to them and talked to them, and they said, you know, as long as it's somewhat similar to the other one, we don't have to have a pre-application meeting. And that's a huge statement for us in terms of confidence from them, and it paves the way for a quicker installation. As part of that process, and this is very iffy right now, so take it with a grain of salt, but we're excited. We've all talked about, and you've heard Tom Grabo and Brian say it so often, for a number of years as a matter of fact, dredging isn't the issue, where to put the dredge is, the dredge spoil. And we've all talked about the benefits of islands in our lake. So we are going to test the waters, no pun intended, as we design that project of designing some in-lake islands off the perimeter of that and see if we can get it through. And why that's important is you've set precedent that if it gets signed off on, then we can leverage that position and move forward very quickly. We'll close on the Epicamp property on Johnson Road this month. The last piece there, we've got a meeting that Brian doesn't know yet, but it's going to be happening in his garage with all the nearby property owners, because we like to stay ahead of projects and bring all the affected people in the loop. So we'll be doing a presentation over there sometime very soon. And then we have to discharge through the south, and we want to meet with that property owner. And that meeting is set for later this month. In terms of Beaver Creek, I think I've told you in the past, but that has been EPA approved. That will be awarded and funded in July. That's the good news. The bad news is we're not supposed to do anything by the terms of the grant until you're actually awarded the money officially, etc. But behind the scenes, we're talking and designing just informally so that once it is funded, we can hit the ground running. That will be a fairly easy installation. As you remember from past presentations, we're calling it a prairie wetlands. We have to be very cognizant of aviation and birds. And so we can't have our typical treatment train installation and attract waterfowl. So we're going to be planting it with switchgrass, which grows 3 to 4 foot tall, and then percolate the water through its roots about 6 or 7 inches deep, but you'll never see it. And then the beauty of it is we'll turn off the pump in the fall and actually harvest the switchgrass, and that there's no alum planned on that installation. It'll all be a biofilter with the switchgrass. Big Chickasaw is our next radar. We've told you about our excitement about Coldwater Creek as we have looked at the 7 tribs on the south side of the lake. There are certain whales, and Chickasaw and Coldwater Creek are the two biggies in terms of sediment load and phosphorus contribution. Coldwater Creek is in motion, and now we'll our attention, not this year, but for next year, with Abby's help, to look at the Big Check. The irrigators, one is repaired and will probably go in the spring. We're still looking for parts and pieces, and we've involved the original company that made them last week, and hopefully that one will be repaired and going in very soon. And the two locations will be hopefully Otterbein to service that whole channel of networks with one machine, and then Southmore Shore Lagoons. In terms of the existing treatment train, we've had a lot of questions on that. That has 2 pumps in it now. They were installed last week. With the expansion, it required the second pump. We'll jump our production from roughly 1.3, not quite double it, to the 2 to 3 million gallons per day area. But as you know, we spend a lot of money on wetland vegetation, and we planted it last fall. We got good rains, we got a good cover crop coming up, but we don't want to drown it out. So we'll turn the first pump on that feeds the old treatment train this coming week, because that's mature, and not really mature, but well established and functioning well. And then we'll wait to turn on the expansion until we're comfortable and confident that the vegetation can handle the inflow of water coming into it. And that shouldn't be too long, just enough the spring to get some good growth on it and the roots established before we bring in the water thing. So it'll be good news. We've had a lot of pictures taken already, just with natural rainfall and the ponds holding water. The Tri-Marine Audubon Society up at Lima, well, serves this whole area, has been down with some spectacular pictures. So unless there are questions, as usual, thank you very much for your support.